who are you becoming? Who are you becoming? Like, what a great question to ask yourself in the new year. Don't you love January? You know, we've had a lot of team leaders meetings, but this is the first team leaders meeting that about 7 of us, we went and did a Barry's boot camp at 7 a.m. Now, I wanna believe that is a tradition that we will carry out for the next 12 months, but something tells me that January, first team leaders had something to do with it. How many know that gyms are full in January? Churches start to fill up. People become very open to asking themselves, who am I becoming? I think it's one of the greatest questions that you can ask yourself, because the reality of it is the only thing that's more important with who you are today is who you're becoming tomorrow. Who are you becoming tomorrow? Because maybe you're here in this room right now and you can start to talk to yourself and you're like, yo, man, I just don't like where I am, and where I'm at right now is not good, and I hate the state that I'm in. I hate my situation. I hate my circumstance. I hate my job. I don't like the relationships that are around me. I just don't like where I am. And if you're not careful, what you can do is you can start to think that your biggest problem is where you are. But your biggest problem is not where you are. Your biggest problem is, where are you headed? Because where you're headed is so much more important than where you are today. There's so many things that we are all becoming, but I think one of the great calls of the gospel is that all of us awaken to the call that we are called to lead. I am becoming a leader. Now listen to me. I am a leader, but I'm also becoming a leader. Why do I say it that way? I say it that way because there's so many things as I examine my life that I have to grow in. There's so many gaps in my life. Anyone feel like you got a couple gaps? Come on, where are you at? Where's the honest people? Okay, a few honest people in the room today. We have gaps. I have gaps in my leadership. I have gaps in my relationships. I've got gaps in my finances. I've got gaps in my physicality, in my health right now. There's gaps all around me. But instead of letting the gaps depress me, the gaps ignite me. Because the key to happiness is simply one word, that is progress. And without gaps, there is no progress. And so I am a leader, but in the very same breath, I also declare I'm becoming a leader, because I don't know what awaits me in 2020. I don't know what challenges I'm going to face, but I know today, as I start this year with all of my friends and all of these leaders, I'm declaring out loud, I have not stopped becoming. I'm still growing. The gaps should tell you that you have room to grow. And the fact that you have room to grow should encourage you and bring satisfaction that you're still becoming something. Aren't you thankful that you're not done growing? See, whether you like it or not, you're becoming something. Like, whether you know it or not, habits are forming. Whatever you repeat, you reinforce. So we're all repeating something. We all have habits. We all have something we're becoming, good or bad. Richer or poorer, stronger, weaker, smarter. I'm not gonna say dumber, but you decide which direction you wanna head in. We always say it this way, direction's more important than speed. I am becoming a leader. I want you to become a leader. And this is what I know. I know that one way or another, you're going to grow. I don't know which direction you're gonna grow. We were having a New Year's Eve party, and I was with my good friend Sean, and Sean has 4 kids. And his youngest daughter, her name's Anna Christina. And when I met Anna Christina, I think she was like 3 or 4 years of age. And it's weird, like sometimes, like even watching my own sons, it's like they grow overnight. But it's always startling when you don't see a child but every couple months, and then you're like, whoa, like you're a different person. And the other day I saw Anna Christina, now she's like 10 years old, and she's like all big and tall. And I looked at her, I said, please, Anna Christina, do me a favor. Don't grow in 2020. I don't want you to get any bigger. I miss the little tiny Anna Christina. Now, how many of you know that no matter what I say to her, she can't help but grow? It's a natural part of the process. And it's the same thing for your life. You're going to grow. The question is, what direction are you going to grow in? And here's what I know for all of us. This is what I know about if you're gonna become a leader. If you're gonna become a leader, this is always the truth. The future will be more demanding than the past. Just the truth. That's why I'm becoming a leader in 20. I don't know what awaits me. I don't know what type of challenges I will have to face. I don't know the problems that are in front of me. I've never been to 2020 before. I'm a leader, but I'm also becoming a leader. It's like, I love it this way. It's like, this is just the truth. Like the future, whatever it is for you, it's gonna be, if you're gonna take on the path of leadership, it's gonna be more demanding than the past. Now, this is not true if you're gonna go backwards, but if you're gonna say, I wanna progress and I wanna head in the right direction, whatever awaits me will be more demanding. It's like, what's the reward for passing the test in the third grade? Fourth grade. A harder test. What's the reward for getting through your freshman year? Oh, I gotta go to sophomore year. This is how life works. And I'm telling you right now, we need to awaken to this truth, to say, you know what? I'm becoming something. I'm becoming a leader. How many know 3 locations is gonna be more difficult than 2 locations? Come on, how many know 5,000 people on a Sunday, that's one thing, but you make it 6,000 as we step into 2020, that's 6,000 new problems that are awaiting us. I don't know about you, but I wanna be up for the challenge. I don't wanna back down from it. I wanna lean into it, recognizing that, I'm gonna have to get ready for the future. Who are you becoming? You make that decision today. That's something for the next 4 weeks we need to be answering. What direction are you headed in? What I love is when it comes to leadership, we have the greatest example in the entire world. Even if you weren't a Christian, I don't think there's any argument of who the greatest leader that ever lived. Even if you're not a Christian, I would say you should study the life of Jesus, because Jesus Christ, hands down, has had a greater influence than any other person in the history of the world. Whether you believe he's God's son or not, you cannot deny the impact that he has left. And there's so many attributes and so many characteristics that you could take time to talk about Jesus that, literally John says to fill up all the miracles that he did, you could fill up all the books in the world and there'd still be things to record about Jesus. What a powerful truth. Yet in Philippians chapter 2, we see the Apostle Paul is using Jesus as an example as he's speaking to a church like VOUS Church. And the attribute that he decides to lean into is the attribute known as humility. And he's going to point out that Jesus is a humble leader. Now, I want to become a leader, but becoming a leader, if I'm really just going to really break it down, it means like I want to become like Jesus. I don't know what your New Year's resolutions are. I hope you have some. I hope you have some goals. Those are all really, really good. But I hope at the top of your list of resolutions or goals, I hope the top goal is I want to become more like Jesus. When you keep hearing Adrian talk about spiritual formation, you're like, what does that mean? Spiritual formation, the process of becoming like Jesus. What would Jesus do is a little exercise on your wrist for spiritual formation. That in 2020, I wanna look more like Jesus than I did in 2019. And one of the ways I'm gonna look more like Jesus is when I take on the path of humility. See, humble leaders have a different mindset. Humble leaders, this is the mindset of a humble leader. Everything I do impacts other people. You wanna become a leader in 2020? Take on the path of humility and get that phrase into your heart that everything I do impacts other people. This is not a church thing. This is not a Sunday thing. This is not a Saturday thing. This is your life type of thing. You are called to leadership. But if you're gonna ever become a leader, you gotta think like a leader. You gotta think like a humble leader, that whatever I'm doing, whether I'm at my job, whether I'm a mom of 2 kids, 3 kids, whether I'm a teacher at school, whether I'm a secretary at work, whether I'm a lawyer, whether I'm a CEO, whether I'm a pastor, team leader, crew coach, whoever you are, whatever space you find yourself in, you need to shift your mindset and say that my actions have consequences. My actions, my behavior, my lifestyle impacts other people because I am becoming a leader. Come on, somebody.